Welcome back. The National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa has called for mass mobilisation to push for the economic transformation and for land redistribution to be accelerated. The union's General Secretary, Irvin, says South Africa must also protect the steel industry and not allow the country to be a dumping ground for cheap imports.
One of the largest unions in South Africa. And as the country grapples with economic challenges, the union has made a call on South Africans.
What is stopping us to convince South African people that if there's anything momentary that is urgent is that we need economic transformation. We need the land back, not for purposes of satisfying our hearts. We need a state that will deliver that land back.
NUMSA says South Africa should revisit the way trade negotiations are being conducted.
We need to go back to WTO and say, look, this global crisis is a crisis, and Fidel Castro taught us that sometimes great problems must deliver great solutions. We should have used Davos to basically tell them that, look, we're facing a crisis, we're sitting over a ticking bomb, because let's face it, our people within no time will arise, and we have seen other Arab Springs, what have happened. Either they destroy the country and so forth, and if those mobs are not guided, they can destroy everything.
Treasury didn't escape the union's wrath either.
The National Treasury in this country, despite the fact that we must defend it from those who want to colonize it for accumulation, which is driven by cronyism, but we must also be very clear that the National Treasury has been also a center, a citadel of power to maintain the status quo in terms of macroeconomic framework. So when we invited Pravin, it was really to engage with him, and he further committed that, look, let's have an engagement. So we are going to engage the National Treasury. We're going to engage the Economic Department and the Department of Trade and Industry. We think that on an agent basis to deal with this crisis.
The steel industry is another challenge.
What we need to finalize is anti-dumping measures, because China is dumping in terms of steel in South Africa. But you see, we can't blame China. China is doing whatever it does in the interest of its own people.
And a message for the ruling party.
We warn the ANC that if you fail to fully implement the Freedom Charter, you will hand over power to DA, which is a political axis of a class that exploit the working class. There's no DA that will ever be willing to deliver, to restore land back to the people. There's no deal that will ever agree that there must be nationalization so that blacks and Africans must own and control the economy. But the ANC didn't listen to us, and I think the rest is history. They've already been kicked out of all metros because the industrial proletariat have basically turned their back against them.
Now the union is working on launching a party.
We got a full mandate from the National Congress that we must now crystallize a workers' party. What is its role? Its role will be to mobilize, raise levels of consciousness of the working class behind the agenda that I'm articulating, and to make sure that the working class is mobilized, is organized, so that it does not continue to vote into power its West butchers who continue to champion policies that destroy their very jobs, which actually bring food at their own table.
The governing party is grappling with these issues as it ponders its future at a Lekgotla currently underway in Pretoria. Sophie Mukweng, SABC News, Johannesburg.